Today's episode of ATTG is on Sonic the Hedgehog. We're going to be reviewing what would happen if Sonic really did.
We're actually not reviewing. It's a theory we've worked on. We have two theories for you.
Wait! Okay, intro world.
We have two theories for you, and we're not going to do. We're not always going to do theories, so don't worry about that. We'll do other stuff too. But this is interesting. Would you like to do the first one?
Sure, my friend. I believe the first one is it Amy or Sonic is colorblind?
Is Amy Rose colorblind or just stupid?
Yeah. I personally am going for she's colorblind because according to Wikipedia and all other Sonic fan sites, Amy is in fact a hedgehog, and if you've read up or you know anything about hedgehogs, you know that hedgehogs are missing cones in their eyes, meaning that they are colorblind or cannot see. I think it was blue and green they cannot see. So, another thing is, if hedgehogs are colorblind and they can't see blue and green, I know one of them is blue, I don't know the other one. It might be green.
They're monochromatic. They can only see one color. They only have the rods, which only perceive blacks and whites.
Ah.
But there is a twist to this, which many fans will point out to you. Amy Rose loves the color red, and has successfully pointed out reds.
So, if you've watched Sonic X or pretty much any other Sonic series, or played the game, even in Sonic, I believe Sonic the Hedgehog, the new one that came out in 2010 or 2011, in that Sonic, Amy mistakes both Shadow and Silver for being Sonic the Hedgehog, when neither of them look like it. Another thing is, you want to continue with what if Sonic could be an actual hedgehog? Or you want to keep going with the colorblind thing?
Well, let's just... I do want to point out something. There are silver in color hedgehogs, such as the platinum hedgehog, and there's a white chocolate one. Apparently.
Yeah, there's a white chocolate one. They look identical.
There's black Cinecot, I believe. That's most likely what Shadow is. But I looked at a monochromatic color array. Pink appears as a light gray. Wouldn't be a problem. Amy looking at herself and saying, "Yeah, I'm light gray. Cool."
What in this universe we call light gray pink, so she favors light gray, aka pink.
Whatever. Sorry, but blue would appear as a very dark gray. Red would appear as a slightly lighter gray, like a normal gray, what you would normally think of. Black would be just straight freaking black, solid black. So there is a huge difference between dark gray and black with a lighter gray strip on the head. She should be able to tell the difference. And then silver still appears silver in color, even on a monochromatic. It's still silver because it's just a shiny gray. So she should be able to tell the difference. But what if she's
just playing stupid? Or what if she is stupid?
She is a hedgehog. What if she's not relying on her sense of sight?
On her sense of hearing?
No. On her sense of... Not relying on her sense of sight for recognizing Shadow, Sonic, and Silver, but more on her sense of smell.
So, all hedgehogs smell similar, so I can see how you get that mixed up.
True. And Shadow is a clone of Sonic, so they would give off the same smell. Also, Silver does sound similar to Sonic at times, so she could be confusing them.
Especially when Silver yells in the game. I think when he yells, "It's no use" a lot, he sounds really, really close to Sonic saying, "What's up?" or "You can't catch me." So, yeah, in the Super Smash Bros. That's something to know.
But Amy has been able to proven to perceive color in the TV show because her favorite color is red. She knows Sonic is blue. Sonic himself knows he's blue. And they all seem to be able to know the colors very well. This is taken into account especially by the fact that the Chaos Emeralds are all of a different color. And Amy knows the exact color of each of the 7 Chaos Emeralds. If she was truly colorblind,
she would perceive them all as probably identical.
She would be like, this is gray, and this is black, and this is light gray, dark gray, silvery gray, lighter gray, white, and darker gray.
So they pretty much just be a different line of grays.
Exactly.
Next topic.
One I've spent all night working on. A lot of math behind it.
Yeah.
I have more organic paper. The equations I used are finding force in newtons, which is mass in kilograms times the acceleration in meters per second. I also used finding acceleration, which is final velocity minus initial velocity all over final time minus initial time, and speed, which is distance divided by time. I have a bucket.
Yeah, our friend gave us sunflower seeds, so.
Also, the last one I did is finding g-forces, which is the acceleration in meters per second divided by 9.80665 meters per second. Okay.
I have another theory for you. Can echidnas really fly or glide? I don't think they can. Theory proved.
If I throw it.
Yeah, throw it far enough.
Anyway. Okay.
Alright.
So, first things first, we need to find acceleration. Since Sonic is said to be able to go to the speed of sound, let's assume he can go to the speed of sound.
Even though in most games he can't.
We're going to look at the amount of force he exerts on an enemy in the attack, where he jumps up into the air into a little ball and then strikes and bounces on to the next one and strikes. Now, assuming he's accelerating up to speed of sound in that time, because Sonic is capable of running at the speed of sound straight along the ground, he should be able to accelerate to the speed of sound faster going at a downward angle. So, acceleration is final velocity minus initial velocity. Assuming the final velocity is 343 meters per second, that would be the speed of sound, and the initial velocity is 0 from the standstill point in the air. And the amount of time he spends is about a second going from where he is to the enemy. Very quick succession. That the acceleration is 343 meters per second, or accelerating to the speed of sound in 1 second.
Hold on. If he can accelerate to the speed of sound in 1 second.
At a downward slope.
At a downward slope. So, if he was just straight up zooming down, every second would he go off a Mach? So he'd go from yeah, he'd go, so he can go faster than the speed of sound. He can go Mach maybe 30, depending on how many seconds.
Let's say his limit is 343. He has an acceleration period of 1 second and maintains the speed of sound. Moving on, we have acceleration found.
And stamina.
Excuse me. We have acceleration found, which means we need to move on to mass. I looked all over for websites to know what his mass was. One website actually compared Sonic's size, height, and weight, his size ratio to another object in a game that he was supposedly properly matched accordingly? Not accordingly.
We could do it to Mario too, because if we know Mario's height is what, 3.3 meters?
Mario's height is not 3.3 meters.
Yeah,
That would be...
That's like 3 feet.
No, my friend.
Oh no, that's like really tall.
But, I finally found substantial information and proof. I cannot remember the site, or else I would cite them. Thank you for your proof. Thank you very much. Sonic's height is approximately 3 foot 3 inches, or 0.9906 meters. So we'll call that approximately a meter.
SI. Just saying. But
Sonic's height is approximately 1 meter, and his weight is approximately 35 kilograms. So now we have his weight in kilograms and his acceleration speed. Now we can determine his speed, his force. If Sonic was actually 1 meter tall, the amount of force he would give off in that attack is 12,005 newtons of energy, of force.
For all of you that don't know math, that's kind of a lot.
I believe there was a game where he's like smashing more human-like creatures that aren't robotic.
And
A hit to the head like that might kill you, but it's not gonna have the skull smashing in animation that you would get in those games.
It would more look like
the human skull requires 2,300 newtons. Oh hey, did I say 12,000 newtons?
I believe you did.
Well then, Sonic would clearly be able to smash in a human head and more. He'd be able to smash in 6 human heads stacked on top of each other.
That'd be kind of bad.
Let's stay away from that person.
Don't take him off.
Yes, I really did my math wrong. No, I'm like, oh no, he wouldn't be able to smash in a human head. Definitely not.
Yeah, kill us.
But he would definitely be able to smash in stainless steel, and normal grade steel, as well as carbon steel. Carbon steel requires 150 newtons of force to bend. And then there's Swedish standard 1311-00 steel, which requires 220 newtons to bend. You wouldn't be able to bend that with your hands.
Of course not, unless you were Mr. Universe. And even then
Sonic would be able to cut through that with 12,000 newtons of force.
Well, that explains a lot in the cartoons and even the video games. There are a bunch of animations, even in the cartoons, where Sonic would turn into his little spike ball, right through metal, into Eggman's place.
Yeah.
All the time. Think that's weird? Yeah, guess what? We just explained why he can do that.
Science. But this is assuming that this hedgehog is actually 1 meter tall. Let's assume he was much shorter, say the size of a normal hedgehog.
Oh wow.
Now the average hedgehog's weight is about 0.22 kilograms to 0.54 kilograms. At 0.22, he would exert 75.46 newtons of energy if he moved up to the speed of sound.
So that could still cut through this.
At the average of 38 kilograms, he would exert 130 newtons, still be able to bend steel. Just a little guy, be able to bend steel. Not carbon steel, regular steel. And at 0.54 kilograms, he would be able to bend carbon steel at 185 newtons of force for just a little guy, about this big.
Alright, I'm gonna go with an interesting fact of the day, something you didn't know about Sonic. Dr. Eggman, or Dr. Robotnik, was originally the protagonist. That's right. Sega was originally trying to copy off Mario by giving an overweight man in a mustache and pajamas whose attack was to swing a pillow at you. Eventually, after a bunch of character redos, they came up with Feel the Bunny, which was Sonic's original name, which was eventually changed to Sonic the Hedgehog. But because they didn't want to get rid of such good character design, they gave or I forget his original name, but they changed it to Dr. Robotnik, and they gave him a more sinister look, making him look like the Eggman we all know and love to this day.
What
The
you don't know.
You know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Back to what we were talking about, and I haven't even taken into effect game theory's speed that they did for Sonic. I wanted to, but I didn't have time to find the video and look at the speed that game theory predicted as Sonic. I was going to calculate that and give you the force. But you now know the force for a small Sonic, which is anywhere between 75.46 newtons to 185.22 newtons, with an average of 130.34 newtons.
One way or another, I don't know how small the number is. It goes from, like, what is it, 1,000 something to 700 to 100. That would still hurt a lot. Because if you can bend carbon steel, I'm pretty sure you can break a couple bones.
Yeah.
So a little
Amazingly,
thing this big, bam, done.
That still would not crack even the femur. The femur and the skull would stand up to that attack no matter how many times you wanted to do it. Well, I wouldn't say no matter how many times. Eventually
it would give in. Even the femur, which is like the hardest bone in the body, right?
Strongest and hardest. It has to hold up all of our weight, no matter how big and fat we get. Sorry.
My friend broke his femur.
No matter how big you get.
Yeah, no matter how big you get.
Would the stop from that acceleration kill Sonic? The answer is, in short, is yes. But of course, who wants the short answer? Shut up. So, one G-force is what is required to pick up an apple, I believe. No, that's 1 Newton. 1 G-force is what your body what your body experiences with normal gravity.
Which
also, it is the equivalent of the acceleration of 32 feet per second falling. That is normal gravity. Now, in meters, that's 9.80665 meters per second. So then, if you were accelerating at 343 meters per second, and suddenly ground to a halt, your body would experience 34.97 Gs.
Alright.
Now, it's not a big number, because, there was a guy who was flying a fighter jet, and his body experienced 46 Gs, and his body at that time weighed over 7,700 pounds from the gravitational forces, and the guy walked away and lived another 45 years nice and happy. But let's take into account the fact that 14 Gs causes our organs to begin deteriorating. And Sonic is not even human. He's about this tall. This tall.
Probably.
And he's a hedgehog.
But you guys gotta take into account something this tall could probably kill you in an instant.
He would kill you as well as kill himself.
Creeper.
Not even to mention if Sonic was a little guy, like this big, and suddenly stopped, he wouldn't even be a ball anymore. He would be a splat.
Probably be a stain on your clothes. But that is taken into account. In all the Sonic games, even in Super Smash Bros., which is a very awful representation of almost every character, when you spin, Sonic doesn't only just stop, but when he hits you, he bounces off to keep going to stop
him. He hits you and goes backwards. So, you're actually experiencing much more Gs because you're suddenly going from a forward acceleration to a backwards acceleration.
He does that in most games too, even in Sonic Generations. Because I played Sonic Generations, I think once or twice, and I remember that stupid space level with all the caterpillars. I hate that level, but I do. Like this weird space caterpillar level, we're not going to get really deep into it because I really don't like it. But I remember being able to hit them, and as soon as you hit them, you bounce off, go to the next one, next one, next one, next one. And then eventually you'd run out of targets and you just kind of drop to the floor. So maybe Sonic, wow, my voice cracked real bad there. Maybe Sonic knows that if he stops too suddenly, then that's going to happen. He's just going to be a stain on whatever he tried to attack. So that's probably why, instead of going completely backwards, like, bam, bam, he probably goes bam, bam, more in the half circle motion, instead of going straight back to, you know, take off the G's and Newtons, of course.
That all makes good sense.
Huh. There's actually a theory I have on why people die when you... There's a theory I have on why